Hmm.
Uh-oh, lose Avery.
Uh-oh, we lost Avery.
See, I haven't even set things up yet. Look at this. There we go.
Hmm.
There we go. All
Terrible.
right. All right. Now we're set up.
Okay. Well, I'll try to remember to cut out this part
Yeah.
like I normally do.
It adds to the the fun.
Push the
I
wrong
know.
button.
Oh,
She's back.
I know. And we all
Sorry.
got so excited for the end of Spider Month here.
Whip the whip.
Yeah.
So whip the whip. So welcome. Welcome to Comic Beat Insider. I am Heidi McDonald. I am the editor-in-chief of The Beat at comicsbeat.com.
I'm Jimmy Aquino, the host producer of the weekly podcast Comic News Insider, covering comics, TV, film, and pop culture at comicnewsinsider.com.
And I'm Avery Kaplan. I'm the features editor at The Beat.
And so, loyal listeners and watchers, as you may know, we have devoted the month of June to Spider-Man. And our main focus on this was revisiting the great Sam Raimi trilogy starring Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst, which we've done the last 3 episodes on.
Mhm.
And we all agree the first 2 movies are sublime. And the third movie really isn't that bad. It's bad, but it's only compared to the first 2. We're going to talk about
Not my
Amazing.
opinion.
No, we're going to talk. Well, Jimmy, you did not even watch Amazing Spider-Man. I just want to
I mean, I
say,
did years ago, but I
Avery,
didn't read
yeah,
it.
for this rewatch, you
Yeah.
could not be bothered. I want to say
No.
Avery and I, like the great American heroes that we are, actually watched Amazing Spider-Man from
Mhm.
2012, and so we are qualified to judge. And
Oh, I can judge from my memory.
well, okay, so Jimmy, if you were forced to sit down in a room and watch Spider-Man 3 or Amazing Spider-Man, which would you watch?
I'd probably watch Amazing Spider-Man. Fine.
Yes.
They
Okay.
just wasn't very memorable, but there were definitely some good parts about it.
There
Certainly,
were
I
some
remember.
there were some good parts about it. If
Yeah.
you
Mhm.
and it was horribly flawed, but it did complete the trilogy. It did complete all the storylines. And so yeah. What do
Right
you
on.
think, Avery? Which would you watch?
Of Spider-Man 3 or Amazing Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Spider-Man 3. No, not a question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I were forced to watch a movie, I would watch Spider-Man 3. So it's got Bruce Campbell in it.
True.
I mean, I'm going to watch Spider-Man 3 again voluntarily. I think it's a mixed bag. I think it's a mixed bag.
Yeah. But
You know what? I'd watch it again too. Then, yeah, I changed my answer. Spider-Man 3.
well, Jimmy,
Fine.
we're gonna force you to watch Amazing Spider-Man after this.
Peer
I
pressure.
kind of wanted to. I wanted to because I can remember some good things, but I also don't remember a lot because it wasn't very memorable to me. But all right.
You're completely
Oh,
on
I
track.
do know. I do remember there was no. The reason I think I maybe didn't love it so much was because I didn't. I do remember there was no J. Jonah Jameson. So that's a bad right there. That's a
Well,
bad thing right there.
so before we get to talking about the post Raimi
Yeah.
trilogy Spider-Man, let's talk a little bit just about the earliest Spider-Mans because I'm sure we all had some
The pointing.
pointing. No,
I
I'm
mean,
just saying.
Nicholas. What's his name? Nicholas. What was the
Well,
guy's name?
no, yeah, well, there was that, but
Yeah.
I go because I'm so old. I go all the way back to the original cartoon. And Spider-Man,
Sure.
Spider-Man. I know I can't sing anymore of the
Yeah. Of
song.
course.
So that was on a weekday afternoon. So as a kid, I watched. That was probably my entree to Marvel. That was before I read Marvel comics, to be honest. And of course, it's classic for the pointing Spider-Man meme, which they used it into the
Mhm.
Spider-Verse. And it was a fun kids
Great.
cartoon, right? Did either of you
Yeah.
guys watch it?
Absolutely, I watched it. Yeah, that one. But the one that stuck out for me was the Spider-Man and Friends. But yeah, that's a
Oh,
cartoon
see,
I
I
remember the
was
best.
too old for that. What was that about?
That Spider-Man and Friends was basically Spider-Man, Iceman, and Firestar. Yeah, Firestar. And it was just awesome. Like the three of them hanging out, like having adventures. That one was pretty popular. I think it did really well. But that's the one I remember the best because it was just really fun and I did see the older Spider-Man stuff too. Yeah, I think when I was little.
Avery, what was your first Spider-Man?
It was the 90s animated show. And actually, I remember my introduction to it was through a Happy Meal toy. I got a Doc Ock Happy Meal toy. It's like one of my earliest
Yeah.
memories.
Nice.
Nice. Now, did you feel an instant connection with Spider-Man? Both of you? Like, what did you think? I mean, what was your initial connection to the character?
Huh. like I was a DC kid for sure. I grew up on, obviously with Super Friends on. That was a favorite cartoon, so I was really connected to Batman early on, and still obviously very connected to Batman, with my bat tattoo. Yeah. And but yeah, it's like I remember seeing I obviously hearing of Spider-Man through either the cartoon or toys, like Avery said, or seeing in the 7-Eleven the giant, they had those giant comics, the really big ones. And there's always seemed to be a Spider-Man one on the rack. So I remember always seeing the Spider-Man versus whoever, And I remember, I think I picked some of those up because he was just sort of one of the ones that was mainstream that you knew about out of the Marvel universe.
For me, it was really about Doc Ock. And like, I didn't really understand what the character was. I just really liked the extra arms. And obviously that had a huge impression on me.
That seems very useful.
Yeah. And it's just a cool, well, and then too, like, I feel like Raimi's one of the few exceptions. I feel like most people don't get the potential of the arms and what they could really do in terms of like, if you had these giant arms walking around the city, like what could you do? You could throw cars at people and stuff.
Third arm, I would be like, be like doing things like that, Absolutely. Come on.
Yeah.
But then I think I had to grow up a little bit for Spider-Man because I think I appreciate some of the character dynamics of Spider-Man, but not until I was a little older.
I think, I grew up in Jersey, so the fact that it was set in New York had a big appeal to me. And then when I started getting into the comics, um, Spider-Man just had the best villain. See, I was never into DC. I did not like Batman or Superman because the cartoon was like made everybody out to be a total idiot. It's like, oh, Clark Kent just left. Oh, but hi, Superman. I just didn't buy it. And then at the end, well, Lois, I guess you're a total idiot, Lois. You can't even tell that I'm Superman. I just turn off, giant turn off.
Still watch the old Superman TV show with George Reeves, and that's what I love, and also of course the Batman, 66, as well. So that's how I kind of think I got into those.
Right. But anyway, when I watched Spider-Man, it was a desperate, uh, you know, it was a desperate challenge to keep a secret identity, to prevent Aunt May from knowing, to prevent J. Jonah Jameson, to prevent anyone, and they didn't play that everybody to be idiots. It was like, this is really dangerous, Peter Parker, and he laughed and he made quips and he had a great sense of humor and had, like Avery said, the best villains. Steve Ditko created the best villains gallery, the Vulture and Doc Ock and Sandman, and then the later ones, Punisher was a big enemy of his, but the Lizard, obviously, it was great. Romita, Ditko to Romita, that was great stuff, just great stuff.
Yeah, I do remember picking up some of those and thinking what odd characters, but I was like, well, look at what Batman has. So it's like it's not really so odd in retrospect. But yeah.
And then another really famous iteration of Spider-Man was on the Electric Company.
Oh, right. Yeah. Electric Company. Yes.
With Morgan Freeman as Easy Reader. As is. Anyway, I don't know why why I was a teenager and I watched Electric Company. I guess because it was kind of cool, to be honest. So
please, that's the thing. It's like I remember I was my niece and nephew were watching like iCarly or something. I'm like, this is really good. And I was like, so I get it. Like you start watching on your own, you're like, should I be watching this? But it's funny, whatever. It's like, who cares?
And then there was I guess it was the 70s, 80s TV show starring Nicholas Hammond.
Nicholas Hammond, that's it.
Ran for a couple of years, I think, or one season. A little vague on that.
I think it's pretty, maybe one season.
Yeah, but this was at a time when having a live action, a show based on a comic book character was super unusual. There was the Hulk show starring Bill Bixby, of course, the sad piano music show. And
I loved
which we all loved it because it was problem of the week, right? And Spider-Man show had an audience and it was beloved of nerds at the time, but it didn't really hold on. And then, as we've mentioned, the character went into this development hell for about 20 years and finally was rescued in the early aughts by Columbia, Sony, and Sam Raimi and Avi Arad. And so that brings us to Amazing Spider-Man.
Yes.
So this film was Spider-Man 4, essentially. We know Raimi left because he just, he wasn't inspired. He just couldn't make a movie when he wasn't inspired. But he had been building up to doing the Lizard, and the Lizard was Avi Arad's favorite villain. So all the seeds have been planted, except they did a complete reboot, hired Andrew Garfield to be Spider-Man, and Emma Stone to play Gwen Stacy. And so Avery and I both managed to get through this movie, which got great reviews when it came out. Can you believe that?
I had a friend who insisted I watch it, and actually that's the first time I saw it, was because I had a friend who insisted I watch it, and he eventually got the DVD and sent me the code. Mm-hmm. And that was how I finally watched it. So this one was the first one that I didn't see in the theater. And
yeah, I mean, of course I went. I mean, I was there and saw it in the theater, and I mean, guess what? I probably enjoyed it at the time too. But it's so interesting to see.
Are we? My froze there for a bit. Were we on Amazing?
We're on Amazing, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely saw it in the theater. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was well received. People liked Andrew Garfield. People liked Emma Stone. But watching it now,
I saw them together out at a restaurant one night right after it came out.
Oh, so they really did date?
Oh yeah,
think they had a showmance?
Oh, they totally did. Yeah, they were there with a friend, but I remember like we were like a table away, and my friend's kid even walked over to them like 'cause she didn't know any better. She's like,
no,
hi. She's like,
no, she didn't.
She's like 3 years old. She like,
oh, she's 3.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, she didn't know any better. She just kind of walking over like, where did oh my God, that's how we noticed who they were, because we saw her walk over there. It's really funny.
Oh man, all right, that's allowable, but
yeah, for sure.
but it's really interesting to look at the things that they felt they had to reboot and the things that they couldn't reboot. And I will say in praise of the Laura Ziskin, Avi Arad, Alvin Sargent team that had worked on Spider-Man 3 and 2, that they were pretty smart about the things that they didn't try to do. They didn't try to do the Daily Bugle because they knew they couldn't possibly touch J. Jonah Jameson. And they did pick up on the Kurt Connor thing, but it's still just not too watchable these days. What do you think?
Totally agree. I just didn't feel like I thought like Sally Field was inspired casting, but that's about, there was a couple of good castings there, but otherwise I was just like, I don't know. I've never, disliked or liked Andrew Garfield, but he's just kind of he's just kind of He's just kind of there for me.
Well, he's also like exciting. 28 years old.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty.
He's got like forehead wrinkles.
Yeah, I know. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Like sitting, and then when they were sitting in the high school class, and I'm like looking at him, I'm like, this man, what is this dirty old man doing in this high school class? Anyway, Avery? What are your thoughts? You sat through it as well, so.
Well, I do think you can tell that they're trying to do something different with like a creature feature. And they try to do that. And there's so many CGI spiders and lizards. And objectively, that's not bad. But subjectively, it really didn't work for me. Especially the part where he had spiders in his hair. That was really not great. But it seemed like they were trying to do kind of like a creature feature and kind of like had like something in mind to try to make it a little bit distinct, which I guess it did obviously make it a little bit distinct, but I don't know if it really worked for me.
Yeah. I mean, they did kind of just mirror things. Like they had Dennis Leary as Captain Stacy.
Captain Stacy, yep.
Who in the comics is killed by the Green Goblin also. Okay? Like Green Goblin just wipes out that Stacy family in the comics. So, and Dennis Leary is the angry yelling guy who's replacing J. Jonah Jameson. But man, what the one thing I remembered about this movie, like all the years, I've only seen it, this is only the second time I've ever seen it, was the Branzino scene. Like who invites their pal over and says, "Oh yeah, mom's making Branzino."
What's wrong with Branzino? I love Branzino. My favorite.
I love Branzino too, but it's not like
easy to cook.
It is all right, easy for you, Jimmy.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, and then Peter like immediately gets into a fight with her dad. Like, thank you for this very nice meal. Let's fight.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the bones.
Yeah. I would say probably the only other redeeming feature of this movie is that it has Irfan Khan in it. The great Indian actor who's just passed away last year, very sadly, at a very young age.
Yeah.
53. But I mean, he's a huge star, obviously, in South Asia, and he's great. I mean, he's wasted in this role, but
Yeah.
it's nice to see him in a film.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What a great career. Certainly has. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you feel? And I again don't remember. Did you feel? I mean, obviously they had the real life romance off screen, and people I think talked about that. I remember like how their chemistry was palpable on screen. Did you feel the same way, like between Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield?
I
No.
think
See,
I
I
think
don't remember that either. But I'm like,
I
were
do.
they just trying to hide it or something like that? So they played it differently. I don't know.
Well, they had that dynamic where they're like mean to each other, and it's supposed to
Yeah.
be affectionate, but I never felt affection. I was just
Okay.
like, this is
Yeah.
not enjoyable to watch. This isn't like sexually charged. It's just like,
Yeah. Maybe they did it to hide their real romance. It would people to know.
I think honestly, a piece of cardboard would have chemistry with Emma Stone. Like she went on to be a big star after this. She was in Superbad, and then she did this. And Garfield has gone on to do a few
Oh,
things,
yeah. Yeah,
but he's not, he's not a big movie star right now. I mean,
Isn't he? I would think he's kind of up there, isn't he?
he's only made a few movies after this. Check out his IMDb
All
page.
right.
Yeah. I mean, he's coming back for
yeah.
No
Yeah,
Way
he's gonna-
Home, supposedly.
Okay,
So
all
that'll reignite his career. But
I watched him deny it on Instagram. It was hilarious.
in what?
On Instagram, he went on
Oh.
Instagram Live and denied it.
Yeah, he says, no, they didn't call me. No, they never called me.
Yeah.
It's because they texted you, Garfield.
Yeah, he was very specific. They didn't call me, and that's apparently the only way to get a hold of anyone in Hollywood. So
Yeah, they
I
called
didn't
your
get to call.
agent. They called your agent.
yeah, my agent
Come
called
on,
me.
Jesus.
I've been sitting around waiting for this call. They just, oh my God.
Yeah. Well, just out of curiosity, from the Wikipedia, people who were considered in 2010, so 11 years ago,
Yeah.
for the role of Peter Parker were Jamie Bell. He would have been okay, to be
I
honest.
think he'd have been pretty.
I
He's
think he'd been-
especially as athletic and he's a dancer as he is. I think he'd have been great. Actually,
I think he would have been a really good Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Alden Ehrenreich.
Oh wow.
I love
I don't
we
know if he'd be a
love.
good-
I don't know if he'd be a good Peter Parker,
Yeah.
but we love him so much from Hail Caesar, and Solo is
Freaking
now.
I love Solo. I love
me too.
Solo.
Yeah,
Me
Solo
too. So good.
is going to
And
be
he was
this cult
great.
film, and eventually
Yeah.
they're going to say we're doing a movie with
Mhm.
Amelia Clark, and
Yes.
everyone will be like,
I
"Oh
hope
my
so.
God, that's the greatest thing I ever heard."
Yeah.
They gave her character great backstory, by the way, in one of the books, and then they
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was
Yeah,
reading about
you
that,
will.
yeah.
You just watch Mark
Kira
Heidi's
with a
words.
Q,
Okay,
yeah.
Frank Delane. Now I love Frank Delane. He's on Fear the Walking Dead.
Mhm.
He's the son of Stephen Delane, who was
Yeah.
one of the you know him, right?
Yeah. He was on. Well,
Yeah.
he's not on anymore, but he was on Fear the Walking
Yeah,
Dead.
yeah. I'm sure
He
he's
was
dead now.
great. He was one of the best
Yeah,
characters. Yeah, he was
and
awesome.
also he is a cutie. He
Yeah.
is like a young Johnny Depp.
He really is good looking dude.
Isn't
Yeah.
a wife beater,
Mhm.
or an alcoholic, I should say. But
Yeah.
I love Frank Delane. I don't think he would have been a good Spidey, but I do like him. Andrew Garfield and Josh Hutcherson. Josh Hutcherson.
Nah.
No way.
I think Jamie Bell would have been great.
Yeah, Jamie Bell would be. Wait,
Out of
there's a
all
few
those.
more. There's a few more. Aaron Johnson. No.
No,
No.
definitely
got
not.
other things to do.
No. Love him as Quicksilver and kick ass.
No.
And finally, Anton Yelchin, which no.
Oh,
Yeah, very sad.
mm,
Very sad. The late
Yelchin.
Andrew Yelchin, who
Yeah,
died. of
Anton
course.
Yelchin. Yeah.
And as such, Anton Yelchin, yes.
Mhm.
And for Gwen, I'm going to read this list too because it just shows how fast starlets come and go, man.
Mhm.
Like most of these that I never even heard of. Lily Collins, all right, she's still
Yeah,
around.
she's still around. Yeah.
Ophelia Lovaband.
I know the name, but I don't know. Can't
Sounds
remember what
familiar.
from.
Yeah.
Okay, well, she's not a big name. Let's put it that way. Imogen Poots, all right, she's still
Oh, she's
around.
not. Yeah.
Teresa Palmer, Emma Roberts. All right, I like Emma Roberts. And Mary Elizabeth Winstead. But Mary
Yeah.
Elizabeth Winstead was fated to be in Scott Pilgrim, so she did
Yeah,
not.
I
And
love
then
her, though.
later, Harley Quinn. So,
Mm.
so yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? I loved Emma Stone, but you know what? Any combination of those actors would have been just the same movie
Yeah, probably.
because it was just generic.
Yeah.
So.
All them CGI spiders.
Mhm.
Yep. So Avery, brave Avery. Oh, so brave. You watched
Bravery,
Amazing
we call her.
Bravery. You
Bravery.
call her Bravery. I was trying to get that out. Thank you, Jimmy. She watched Amazing
Two.
Spider-Man 2. So
I
tell us.
I offer my condolences.
Yes,
I can
very
only
sorry. You
I can
are
only in this
yeah.
hard time you can make it through with us.
Now tell
Um,
us.
well, they should have used a different villain. There was no reason to go to Goblin, especially when you've got Willem Dafoe's performance fresh in our minds. So there's that.
Yep.
It also it had the Spider-Man 3 problem. I felt of there were too many plot threads. So you would have a character come in who you hadn't seen for like 40 minutes, and you're like, "Where did you come from? What are you? Who are you again?" And then the ending was just so obviously trying to soft start this Sinister Six movie, and it like in one of the, I mean, we're all pretty used to like the here's what's coming next parts of any kind of Marvel movie at this point, but this one was really rough and very just felt so tacked on in the end, where you've just got, oh well, here's Dr. Octopus's arms and Rhino's suit, and we'll pick a few others to round out the Sinister Six.
God, yeah, I didn't even
Well,
remember that stuff. I'm like,
well,
yeah.
actually, now that you mention it, one of the things that I liked the least about Amazing Spider-Man was the whole Peter's parents are actually
Um,
Howard and Maria Stark. Okay, so
Oh, right.
yeah. Now I
which
guess
opens both
Oh.
movies. Opens both movies like a 10-minute
Mm.
scene about that.
yeah. Now I guess in some universes, Peter Parker, his parents are. I mean, I don't know what in the canon. Obviously, I haven't read comics in a long time. Marvel comics. But I mean, his parents have some complicated backstory in the comics these days. But it just adds nothing. It's just like no. It's just ugh.
It's also
Yeah.
I feel differently about details like that when they happen after 70 years of character history versus when
Mm.
it's, the fourth movie.
Right? Or
Yeah.
their first reboot, which
Yeah,
came,
the
Mm.
which came only 5 years after Spider-Man 3, by the way. It was only 5 years to reboot Spidey. So
Yeah, I remember everyone saying like, Why? Why is it so fast?" And I get it was like a whole rights thing with Sony, maybe or something like that, where they had more possibly could lose the rights or something
that's
like that. Yeah,
that's true. If they ever
yeah,
just stop making Spider-Man movies,
yeah,
Marvel just gets the rights back
yeah.
free and clear.
Ah,
but it did
so that was it. Yeah.
but they sort of capitalized on it, I feel like, with Spider-Verse, because
Oh
that
yeah.
sense that we all went into that movie having basically became the backbone of their structure for that movie of, okay, let's do this again, let's do this again, let's do this
Mhm.
again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, Marvel Comics itself did it with the Ultimates, obviously,
Hmm.
and
Which was
I mean,
great.
and in Oh No Way Home, we're
Yeah.
apparently getting this. All the Spider-Mans are coming back, so it's a start. It works. It works in the movies too. Oh, I know what I was going to say about this amazing franchise is so clear again, like with the first trilogy, that they just made the movies they wanted to make. And
Mhm.
superhero movies at that point were not the biggest thing globally in the box office. They weren't the westerns of today, right? Whereas 10 years later, it's exactly, I think before we were talking about the toys, it's like, oh, we can have, like, oh, here's a scene, we can do a Lego set based on this. And, we can have like the merchandising. And in fact, I was reading the Wikipedia page, and like they did a huge viral marketing campaign for Amazing Spider-Man, which I actually remember.
Yeah.
They had the spider thing, the spider logo, different
The sort of
places.
like, yeah, it's sort of like spray painted type thing. Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember that.
and
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, and so viral online marketing campaigns were kind of a huge thing 10 years ago,
Mhm.
but they don't do them as much anymore. Just because we spend so much time online, I suppose.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was yeah, I remember those little like street art graffiti things, yeah.
Yeah, but
They're
it
kind of
was
cool looking. I like the design. That was kind of cool, yeah.
but it's very, very clear that the filmmaking is now
Mhm.
subverted to the
Mhm.
film selling.
Mm.
And, oh, we made a pretty good movie that people are going to go see and enjoy, and then we can keep selling all this stuff based on it. And um
yeah. There's no space for those scenes where like Peter's goofy and smiles, or like, because that's not, nobody's gonna buy that toy.
mhm,
Yeah, I don't remember anything about Garfield's performance being delightful and fun. You know what I mean?
it's
Like it
not.
never fit where it was like supposed to be like quippy and funny, and I don't remember. I felt it more broody. That's what I
Yeah.
remember. Yeah. So
Yeah, more of that style of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
yeah, no bueno.
And so why do you and so at at the ending also they they kill Gwen Stacy. I'm
Yeah.
like why did they and Amazing too. I'm like why did they suddenly feel they had to do this famous storyline?
Yeah,
Mhm.
in like the last 5 minutes too. And then
Yeah.
like you go through his whole arc of getting over it in like the last 2 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. Well, they
Yeah.
were trying to set up this whole, they're trying to like, well, we're not going to give Marvel Spider-Man. We're going to compete with them, the
That's right.
MCU, and we're going to create our whole Spider-Verse. Can become this. We're going to have a Venom film, a Sinister Six film. We're going to have all these spin-offs, and then like after two, they're like, wah wah. Sorry.
Wah, 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 wah. Kevin Feige
Even
is
like a Spider-Man 2099 was like, they had like it planned. I was like, they had all the stuff and just went right down the drain because it did not do well. So, yeah.
Yeah, but also, Laura Ziskin, who had produced the first four of these films,
Mhm.
had unfortunately passed away. Her husband, Albert, or partner, I should say, Alvin Sargent, wasn't involved in Amazing Spider-Man 2. And who does that leave? Our good friend Avi.
Mhm.
And Amazing Spider-Man 2, based on Avery's bravery to watch it again, is just telling me that it was Avi run amok.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, without, and I'm not saying Avi's the worst person who ever lived or the worst filmmaker. I'm just saying he needed some checks and balances
Yeah.
to uh rein him in. So
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's on Spider-Verse too. Like he's
Yeah.
on literally every single
Yeah.
one of
yes,
them. So he's on the best ones and the worst ones.
yes, he is. Yeah, absolutely. And he is, although he has very little to do with the Marvel ones. Very
Mhm.
little. I've been told.
Just a
That.
little. Well, yeah.
I'm curious. I'm
Credit.
curious.
He's getting a little kickback and a little credit, and that's about it. So
Well,
Yeah.
I'll say this about him. He might have actually realized that the less now he doesn't have to do much, the films are very successful.
yeah,
I think he
maybe
might
like
be.
I can stand back and let it happen.
Yeah, I think
Good.
he might actually
That's
have
good.
learned that. So, before, we'll save Spider Verse for last. We'll save
Yeah,
the
yeah.
best for last. But now, so
Literally
after
2 years later,
so 2 years later,
2016.
2016, and in between, I long remember the day that the nerds rejoiced when it was announced that Spider-Man would be coming to the MCU. Because in the meantime, wait, I have one last thing to say about Amazing Spider-Man, because it is the only one that I got to see filmed. Because one day, remember how I kept saying I kept trying to go see it be filmed,
Mhm.
but they were filming over by Madison Square Park. But
Mhm.
all it was a thing on a dolly that was sort of the Rhino, but it
Mm.
wasn't real. It was like Paul Giamatti was, or it wasn't even him. It was a
Yeah.
stand-in on the Greg, and they were doing it up and down the street. That was it.
Yeah.
But I did get to see
So the very last scene.
Yeah.
Yep, the very last scene. So
Yeah. Ding on a Dolly was my college band. We played a couple gigs. We were all right.
yeah. So anyway, as you guys have said, they were trying to set up this universe, and then they just realized they very wisely said, "We can't do it. We
Yeah.
need Feige. Give us Feige."
Yeah. Yeah.
And
They're clearly succeeding. We can't compete. Let me jump on that train.
It was a
that
little bit of a
bandwagon.
North Korea, wasn't it? North Korea and that Seth Rogen movie where they messed up Sony's
Was
servers and
it?
cost them all that money, and then they were kind of
Oh.
forced to sell Spider-Man, like make the deal with Marvel. Was because
Oh, I didn't
North Korea
know.
like
because
attacked
the
their
Sony leak,
servers.
the Sony leak.
Yeah, over
Oh,
because they
that's
attacked their servers over that North Korea movie that they hated. And then that
Oh
like
my
really put
God.
Sony in a bad position. They were kind of up against the wall, and they're like, "All right, Feige, you keep knocking on our door. All right, I guess we'll put Spider-Man in Civil War."
I wonder if Feige was behind the whole hack. No, I'm just
Feige's
oh my
the
God!
world.
sorry.
The power
little...
broker, really?
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah. He's the power. He's the power broker. That's
We
great.
figured it out.
We found. Oh my God! All of a sudden, our screens go black. Oh no!
Yeah, it's the last
Guys,
thing
I
ever
saw
hears
you.
from
I'm
us.
sorry. Bye. Yeah. Oh wow. I didn't. I just now that you're saying it's coming back. I'm like, holy cow! Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
No,
I do
that's
remember
true.
it being announced. Yeah. Then they're like, it'll be a new Spider-Man, and people were always like, oh, it's only been 2 years and another one already. But then when they said in the Marvel, they're like, oh, wait a minute. Okay, cool. But
Yeah, everybody saw him grab that Captain America shield, and it was fine.
And then like it's gonna be Tom Holland. We're like, who?
Yeah.
Who's this?
Do you remember in the theaters for Civil War when it said Brooklyn?
Yes. Yeah. We're like, oh.
I
Uh,
know.
Oh no,
and
Queen's
like
not broken. Excuse me.
yeah,
Oh,
and yeah, and so we get Tom Holland, which is no one really knew who he was, and we get
but
this
I,
kid
but
in
I,
out of nowhere, and it's like all right,
but he was a kid. I mean,
yeah, which is great. He was
and
19 at the time, maybe I think. Yeah,
I think one of the things that made me so uncomfortable about Amazing Spider-Man was just that he was obvious. I mean, he looked youthful, but he just obviously
yeah,
was a man in his 20s. I
exactly.
mean,
Yeah,
as was Tobey Maguire, but he acted like a dumb kid,
yes, he
you know?
did.
Um,
Very dumb kid
and
sometimes.
Tom Holland is just a skinny little kid. I mean,
Yeah,
Andrew Garfield's very slender, so he actually
yeah,
didn't, fill out too much.
no,
But Tom Holland is just genuinely a young, skinny guy
yeah, yeah.
who's been put
In
on the
shape,
Marvel.
but yeah, in
Yeah,
shape, but
yeah,
yes, for
he's been,
sure. But yeah,
yeah.
but yeah.
And uh, when he showed up in Civil War, it was just like,
Uh that whole great line, Underoos, and then he shows up and steals Cap's shield. I'm like, what a great entrance. I'm like, oh, couldn't have been better. That's awesome.
and I mean,
I love it. I loved
they
it.
just get it, man.
Yeah,
I just
so
can't
good.
even like, like it's absolutely the whole spectrum. It's ultraviolet on this side and infrared on that one
Hmm.
because, we've come from these really intimate personal movies about Spider-Man to being just part of this machine that totally buries the real personal stories. It really does. But we love it.
Hmm.
We still
Yeah,
love it.
yeah, yeah. And it's like, and then they went from the very inspired, casting of oh yeah, Sally Field's great to who I still love. Let's go for hot. Let's get Marissa Tomei, who I love. I think she's a great actress too. But it's like I just thought it was really funny that the whole dynamic with Tony Stark and her is really funny.
Mm,
Um, but yeah, what a great entrance in Captain America, and then of course leads into his own film,
right.
Homecoming, which is just ending in the background on my screen over here. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm catching up by watching Far From Home is actually
yeah,
on my screen. So we
yeah.
just couldn't cram all the
That's
Spider-Man. We had
right.
not enough time, literally not
No,
enough time
we did
since our
not.
last episode.
No.
But yeah, what did we think of Homecoming?
I loved it because again, he's 19 maybe when he's filming this, and he is still pretty young. He's a new star, and all the other stars in Marvel you joke all the time how he's such a kid at press conferences that they have to like watch him because he's always spoiling things. He doesn't know how to hold his. He's like his friend Ned in the movie who says in Homecoming, like I can't keep this a secret. I can't. I'm not gonna like he's totally Ned. It's like so it's really he really fits the character. He comes across as a kid as like just a silly. The opening is great after I love that whole little scene where it's like the opening where he's been filming it and happy, and of course John Favreau is happy is great. The begrudged, disgruntled, keeper caretaker of him. And he's filming this little vlogs almost or whatever just for himself. And you get to see behind the scenes stuff from Civil War. Which that's my cue, gotta go. He takes off and that's really fun. And then watching him just like, waiting for Tony to call and just bored and doing stuff. And it's like it comes across like just this kid who's got these new powers, excited, wants to help and do something, but nothing's going on. But I think he was perfect. He's great.
Yeah. Avery?
So my only complaint is I like broke Spider-Man. I really like it when
Mm,
Peter's like struggling to make ends meet
yeah.
and I really like that push and pull between he is like hyper competent and he does these
Yeah.
incredible things that literally no one else can do. And also he's gonna get booted out by Dickovich.
Yeah.
So I miss that a lot in this. And I like the nature of the relationships that he has with Tony and Happy. I think they're interesting.
Yeah.
But I do like you never feel like how is he going to make rent in these movies? And that's like one of my very favorite things about the character.
Well,
Yeah.
he still lives with Aunt May, right? He's still a kid, basically. Like living. He's
Yeah,
still in
but
high
he's got
school.
a kid with Happy on call.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's got
well, and
Tony Stark on
Doesn't even really
call.
worry about rent, really,
Yeah,
because
he's not.
he's living with his Aunt May, so yeah, he's kind of like just a kid in high school, yeah, really. So yeah.
yeah, and their house isn't getting like repossessed like in the
No,
Raimi
right,
trilogy or
yeah,
anything
true, yeah,
either. Like it seems
yeah,
pretty. I mean, they've got their blip stuff, which is sort of their other
hmm,
thing, but
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, we don't get to that to the next movie. But I will say that um they did solve the problem that we noted in the first trilogy, which is that it was so white, and they really did a great job of
hmm,
updating this to reflect the fact that a high school in Queens is not
Yeah.
all white kids. It's
Yes.
far from it. And Jacob Batalon plays his buddy, and
I
Ned,
so great. I
and
love
he's
him, man.
yeah.
Another one in real life. You watch him in like interviews. He's just delighted to be around. This. He's
Yeah,
he's so happy to be a part of
Tony
it.
Revolori as Flash, also.
Yeah.
Tony
Yeah.
Revolori
That's really
from the
good.
Hotel Budapest.
I mean, of course,
Love,
Zendaya. My God,
yeah,
Zendaya's
and
in the show.
Zendaya,
Okay.
everybody. Oh,
Yeah.
also, actually, a little, you know, they
Laura
just,
Harrier is as his love interest initial in Liz.
yeah,
I'm like,
and
yeah.
who I love in this movie is Tyne Daly.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
He
She shows
shows
up right
up
away.
as like damage control and like
Mhm.
this whole new, and here's the miracle of the MCU. It's like we're an Amazing Spider-Man. Uh Avery and I couldn't even remember who played. I didn't even remember Green Goblin was in that movie. Okay. Like I saw it in the theater, but I had
Mhm.
completely forgot. And the kid who played him was Dane DeHaan.
Mhm.
Who is Dane DeHaan?
Yeah. No idea.
He was
Yeah.
also in the Valerian movie
Mhm.
with eyebrows. What's her name? Cara Delevingne.
Okay,
Oh,
with eyebrows. That's a good way to
Yeah.
describe her.
I
Yeah.
saw she's known for her eyebrows, for
Yeah,
real.
for sure. Yeah.
But I mean, he went nowhere. Whereas
Yeah.
in the Spider-Man films, it's like, is Jacob Batalon a big star? No, but we love
Mm.
him.
He's
And,
great.
and
I,
we
lo- I
were,
just love that dude in general. He's
yeah.
so
But I
he's
mean,
so delightful.
he's become already this character actor that we
Yeah.
love. And, if
Yeah.
he's in something else, we're like, oh, it's Jacob Batalon, you know?
well, and imagine
Also,
if they didn't put him in 3, people would be
They'd lose
wouldn't
their
fly.
minds. Yeah,
That wouldn't fly
exactly.
at all.
no,
That would be.
Yeah.
no.
He's my
Also,
Filipino brother. Come on now. He's
yeah,
the
of
best.
course, absolutely. And
He's the best.
Zendaya. I mean, we love Zendaya here.
Oh God, I love me some
And
Zendaya.
guess what? They freaking nailed the villain,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Michael
Michael
Keaton.
Keaton as the Vulture. And I'm sure I've said this on this podcast before, but I went to a screening of Hardened Critics, and the moment when Peter goes to pick up his date,
Mhm.
Liz,
Yeah.
who is brown skinned, and Michael Keaton opens the door, the entire theater gasped.
Oh God.
I've never ever heard this at a screening. They were
That's like how is this possible?
right. Well, it was just like
Jesus. Yeah.
we didn't see that coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were we were we were close minded. We didn't
Yeah.
see this
Of course.
coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and then you
And
go right into the scene where the two of them are in the car together. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's a really great scene. They have some good scenes together, actually, really good. Not just the fight scenes, but the good, like, sort of
yeah,
talking scenes
and
are good.
yeah,
And then, I mean, Donald Glover, who was great in
yeah.
it because for so many reasons, because we all know, like, the campaign to try to get him to be Spider-Man, which I love that they one time on Community sort of gave an homage to that opening in Community where he wakes up in Spider-Man pajamas. So I'm like, yes.
Well, and then you see that
Yeah.
clip in Spider-Verse.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's great. And he's, he plays Miles Morales' uncle.
Mhm.
In this, and it's like, oh, this is so great. And Bokeem Woodbine, awesome, who's in there
Mhm.
as well, sort of like Keaton's right hand. Just so, I mean, really great cast. I thought really well cast overall.
Yeah, just everything clicks.
Mhm.
Everything clicks.
Yeah.
And like we see Zendaya as not the love interest. And I mean this does tie into the gradual, de-romancification of the MCU, where I mean they are kind of having a romance in the second one, but it's nowhere near as far along as the other films. But it's good. That's what it's got the kids today like, I guess. But yeah, Homecoming, fantastic. And
Mhm.
then of course Spider-Man and the Infinity War
Mhm.
Endgame. Mr. Stark, I don't feel
Oh
so
my God, in
bad.
Endgame,
Yeah.
Tears.
that was so sad. Like he
Ah,
played that. Tom Holland's really good. He
he
played
is
that
good.
so well. Like again, he's a kid in outer space and he's like, I don't want to. Like you
I
felt
don't
that
want
it
to
was so
go.
sad. It's like, and then when he disappears, you're like, no, like everybody was just like,
Uh,
and the audience is like, no. I hear people
yeah.
crying their eyes out. It might have been me, I heard, but but yeah, it was really sad. But yeah, it was
Yeah.
really great.
It was yeah, he's
It's
I
so
mean,
good.
someday we'll do like a whole year of the MCU, I suppose. But
Yeah,
I'll say this about Infinity War and Endgame. They are the best paced 3 hour movies I've ever seen. Every time I sit down to watch them, I'll be like,
really.
I'll just watch a little. and then it's like, bam, it's over.
They really, yeah. I've always noticed that the segues are flawless the way they use them. Like,
Yeah, and that's another thing that I enjoyed about the Raimi trilogy is that they're set pieces.
Mhm.
Like they're
Yeah.
they're set pieces that are really clearly defined, and you know what's happening in each one. Whereas in these later movies that are all about selling
Mhm.
the toys, it just is like, oh, they're going to be a fight, blah blah blah. Oh,
Mhm.
he's got a new suit on. I see. It loses that, and they did do that very very well
Yeah.
in Infinity War and Endgame. So props again. So now we come to uh
Far from home.
Far From Home.
Yeah, where they go to Italy, right? Italy. Where
Yeah.
they go? Yeah, yeah.
Now I've only seen this movie once. I have it on TV.
I
Did
think I
you
only saw it once too. Yeah.
has anybody rewatched it for this?
No, I
I
Of
didn't.
watched it
course.
last night.
Bravery. All
Nice.
right,
Yeah.
Avery. What do you
Well,
think?
this one you didn't have to be brave for. This one is just,
No.
I mean, I
Yeah,
like
it's
Jake
fine.
Gyllenhaal a lot as Mysterio.
Yeah.
I think he's really good. And I really like the Mysterio sequence is the highlight for me when they create it's
I'm
so
watching it right
comic
now.
booky. when the moon turns into his helmet and he grabs her, it's so good.
Mhm.
And then of course Marvel Zombies shout out with Iron Man. Probably my favorite Iron Man thing in either movie, to be honest. I love it so much. It's so good. So yeah, I really like that sequence. And then
Go ahead. Yeah.
I was just gonna go on to J. Jonah Jameson.
Go.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, of course. Yeah, at
Oh,
the end.
Yeah, the ultimate
Yes.
finale. That I
Yeah,
remember that in the theaters too.
Oh
That
God,
was a
we
huge
all
reaction.
again we all screamed and like yeah, like oh my God, so great.
Well, and it's so smart to update him to that type of journalist too.
Mhm. Yeah,
mhm.
yeah,
It's just
that's really great.
because I was just thinking, like, all the media is one big J. Jonah Jameson now.
Mhm.
Yep.
It's like it's all
Yeah.
anti something, completely
Mhm.
obsessed with tearing down
At
something.
the table with my coffee cup. Rah.
Yeah.
Great.
So good. Now,
Yeah.
what I remember though, I feel like, and maybe I remember, I don't know, like it wasn't too long ago, but I feel like it was pretty easy to figure out Gyllenhaal's character. Did you find that like right away? Like, yeah, like I felt like, oh, he's too good too quick. Wait a minute, something's going on
Well,
here.
of course, that was obvious, but
Like,
that
yeah, it
part
seemed
was
pretty
obvious.
obvious, right?
But they did all the double blinds in this movie. I will say that most of the films, he's like, oh, you can figure out what's gonna, there's gonna be a charity ball, there's
Mhm.
going to be a fight in the city, the Macy's balloon or something, or a
Mhm.
4th of July Macy's, whatever, some New York
Yeah.
thing, and the villain's gonna crumble them and then steal Gwen or Aunt May or something.
Mhm.
Whereas this movie completely broke away from really all of those formulas where it's so many double blinds with the Mysterio
Yeah.
character. And I mean, they had great chemistry,
Mhm.
Gyllenhaal and Tom Holland. I mean, Tom Holland is another
Yeah,
one.
they really were
He
great
has great,
together.
he has great he has great chemistry with everything. He's
Yeah, he
another
really
one.
does.
Have you
Um,
watched the interviews with Jake and Tom?
Yes,
I've
yeah,
watched,
yeah,
I
they're really fun.
have,
They
and
they I think they just told Jake to just make stuff up. 'Cause he says like, so then Dr. Lestrange shows up and it's like what does that even mean? I think they just full sail told
Oh
him
yeah,
like
I think
Tom's
they're
gonna
just
try to
messing around.
spoil
Yeah, for
things, you
sure.
just go for it.
yeah, they're great. And obviously he had a blast playing Mysterio. And introduces the entire concept of the 616 universe, all the multiverse, which apparently is what we're going to get for the next 5-6 years. So this is a pretty, and the little double again, little Nick Fury, like there's a big twist at the end with Nick Fury.
Mhm.
There's a lot of twists and turns in this, which I appreciate that it wasn't, they didn't just tell the same superhero movie story that
Mhm.
they've told a billion times.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say I really like that they incorporated Beck's whole film thing, like in an unconventional way. But his whole he comes from like the Hollywood background, and they
Mhm.
incorporated that whole idea into they're writing the script and doing this and that.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a very smart film. I actually look forward to rewatching it.
Yeah, me too. I want to watch it again.
After this, I think it's actually streaming on Hulu, so you can watch it on Hulu if you have Hulu.
Oh, I thought it was Hulu Prime only. You could watch it on. I thought it was
Oh
like
yeah, you
pay
Hulu
for.
Prime. Don't you have Hulu Prime?
No, let's get ready. I don't watch. I don't. You watch Hulu?
I mean, I pay like about
I watch
$400.
Hulu for like if I miss the occasional TV show and
Oh,
then Handmaid's Tale. That's my.
well,
That's all I
I
watch.
don't have. Haven't you listened to anything I've said for the past year? I don't have cable TV anymore. I have
I
Hulu
know, I know.
Prime
Yeah,
on my
maybe I should switch to
Roku,
Hulu Prime. Maybe I should switch.
which is why, which because it has the Mets. And the
Mm,
Roku, because I have the Roku, I couldn't get HBO Max for all those
mm.
months, those long. Anyway, whatever. Um,
Not sponsored by anyone,
yeah.
unfortunately.
So again, the third film in this trilogy, is of this, Spider-Man No Way Home. There's been a lot.
Coming next this this
There's,
this fall, right?
yeah. Oh yeah, to
Ah,
Christmas. It's a Christmas
yeah,
film, and
excellent.
we should have. I think Doctor Strange is in it, right?
Doctor Lestrange, yes.
Yes, Doctor Lestrange.
The
And
very famous character.
Yes.
apparently everybody's coming back. Like we know first, we
We
know Doc,
know.
we know Doc Ock is coming back because
Molina.
Alfred Miller
Oh,
just said
he
that.
just called me to tell me about it again. I'm like, Alfred, we know, dude. Come on, stop. You've told
I just
everybody.
want to tell you what outfit I'll be wearing when I
Yeah, he's like, well, let's meet over dinner. We'll talk about it. Okay, okay. Let me tell you about love.
But we know,
little
we know
arms
Andrew.
like.
We know Andrew Garfield will be in it because he gave
great.
the worst denial of all times. He's like, nobody called me about
Yeah.
this. Like your
Wow.
agent called you.
Nobody
We get it.
Yeah.
called.
Nobody called, but so he's in it
Yeah.
for sure. Toby Maguire, as you mentioned before, is kind of a little bit dissolute, so maybe nobody asked him, but it sounds like he's coming back. They say Michael Keaton might be coming back, possibly.
Toby Maguire reactivated his Twitter, so
Oh, did he?
Oh.
yeah, so
Done deal.
Oh,
And
he's in. He's in.
possibly even Willem Dafoe will be coming back, right?
after
Oh, yeah, that'd be
rewatching
great.
Spider-Man 1, I'm extremely excited for that possibility.
Yeah, I
I
hope so.
really think he killed that character
Yeah,
so well.
absolutely. Totally
Yeah.
agree.
And you know what? It sounds like it'll sell a lot of Lego sets. You know what? I don't care. I'm here for it. I am so here for it. And I guess the Loki show is actually also setting up a lot of this multiverse stuff. Are you watching that, Jimmy?
Which one? Loki? Yeah, I love it. Oh my God, he's so great. God, I love Tom. I love Hiddlebums. He's the best.
I know yeah,
He's cool.
it's good. I love that purple sky.
Yeah.
The purple
Yeah,
sky.
well, and the dynamic between the two of them is so
Oh
good.
yeah, she's great. Yeah. Oh my God, so sorry, I forgot the actress's
What are
name.
they? What are the Martino? Simone
Yeah.
Sylvie.
DiMartino. Yeah, Sylvie.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
Oh, the character's still.
yeah. What do they call it? A bottle pocket show? I forget.
Mm.
It's like that when the two characters sit and talk to each other.
Like a bottle
Oh.
episode,
Bottle
sort of.
episode.
Okay.
Yes. I don't know why they call it a bottle episode, so I never
Yeah, me neither.
remember. But or a two-hander. But anyway, yeah. So big time switch coming to Marvel MCU. But in the meantime, we have the greatest
Yes.
superhero movie of all times.
I mean, it really
Yes.
is. Yes.
I mean, we talked about whether Spider-Man 2 was the best superhero movie of all time, and it's certainly one of the top 5. But I think
For
that
you, yes.
no, I would say if I had to choose between that and Into the Spider-Verse, I would absolutely pick Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
It's a masterpiece. It's a fucking masterpiece
It really is.
beyond genre.
I mean, everything about it, like voice acting, direction, animation, the soundtrack, the music, my God, is incredible.
Yeah, it's the best
just
soundtrack for Spider-Man,
Script, it
definitely.
really is. The script is on point. It's so good. I mean, there's not. I really can't think of a bad thing. There's nothing bad to say about it. It's
No.
really funny. It's like,
It feels like it shouldn't work. I think that's one of my favorite things about it. Is it is amazing, and then you hear all this, and it's like, no, you can't introduce 6 characters, and there's 6 villains, and this and that, and all this other stuff, but somehow they just pull it together.
yeah.
Well, props to Sony Animation, because they really had a fantastic script, and
Mhm.
this movie looks, I mean, it's very groundbreaking with its animation. They used all these new techniques to give it like a completely fresh brand. I mean, it's really groundbreaking. It really is the kind of thing
Yeah.
where it obviously felt familiar, but also it felt like you were seeing something brand new, something that was a synthesis of so many other influences and contemporary and timeless and all of that, and Spider-Ham. I mean,
Yeah.
voiced by John
Voiced
Mulaney.
perfectly by Mulaney. Yes,
Just
my
perfect.
God.
Just perfect.
The wet hand.
Yeah.
Oh. And then Nicolas Cage is black and white
Oh my God.
With
Spider-Man.
the wind. Spider-Man lawn.
So great.
And
Such, I
Catherine
mean,
Hahn as another
yeah.
Doc Ock. Oh, so
I mean,
good.
Live.
Shamik
Live.
Moore as Miles Morales, Jake Johnson as the other Spider-Man, Haley Steinfeld, also my Filipino sister, as Gwen Stacy, Mahershala Ali
Oh
as
yeah.
the uncle, Aaron Davis,
Yeah.
Brian Tyree Henry as the dad, who's so great. That great little scene we saw in all the trailers, where he makes him say "I love you" through the speaker.
Oh,
That's so great. Oh, I
painful.
love it. So
Uh,
great.
well,
Just really
yeah,
good. Lily
Lord Gillette.
Tomlin. Lily Tomlin.
Yeah.
Oh,
Aunt
well, I mean,
God.
May.
the implied dynamic between May and Liv that, like, I would watch a movie about that.
Yes, yeah. Yes, that was great.
Well, because she says, my friends call me Liv, and May calls
Yeah,
her Liv. So
yeah. Like,
give me the flashback story of that.
right, exactly.
Nice. Good
That
cat.
that cover where Ock marries her. Show me
Yeah.
that. Ooh.
I love that Aunt May also knew all about everything Spidey verse wise. Like she was almost
She's
the Alfred of for
Oh
the
yeah,
the
Alfred.
yeah,
Q. Yeah.
it was. Yeah, or the Q. There you go. Yeah, the Q.
Yeah.
So
And
great.
also
Well,
just go on.
I love the world building of
Mhm,
how Peter A. Parker, his implied name, has
mhm,
been funding his ridiculous spider cave by
mhm.
selling out. I love that
Yeah.
so much. It's so good.
Mhm, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this just takes every trope, confronts it and stands it on its head and
Mhm,
then makes it cool again. I mean, and also you mentioned the soundtrack. I mean, it is really funny. The original Spider-Man trilogy was back in the day when active rock was the thing, and so every song movie ends with this rock, "Oh, Spider-Man is coming," and then I noticed, I mean, I didn't sit through the credits, but suddenly with the Amazing World, we're back into the emo core, it's
mhm.
like this more like,
Yeah.
I forget. I don't even know what band with that. And then with Into the Spider-Verse, obviously the most important music of the last 20 years is hip hop. And so it completely
I mean, we get
energized.
Biggie Smalls, and I was like, yes, this
The
Yeah.
record
great
drug,
And
soundtrack.
even.
I
even
was like,
Post Malone is really
yeah.
great in this. Even
Mhm,
his song is really great. And so again, it's contemporary and yet timeless. It's like just every song on this just, makes you stand up and cheer. And then when they do the What's Up Danger song, I mean that I get choked up every time I talk about that scene. It's just the greatest scene in all of these movies.
mhm,
Miles confronts that he's got to be a hero and makes that leap of faith. It's so well. Every time I saw it in the movie theater, I would just start crying, and everyone I was
mhm.
with would start crying.
It's so
It's
Really
so
great.
good.
good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I mean,
also
just so many great things.
I love how the aesthetic was so rooted in comics. Like you've got the words
Oh,
appearing, you've got the dots from the ink, you've got the several times transitions look like page turns,
Oh, that was
ripping
brilliant.
paper, stuff like that. It's
oh,
or
the
in the
king.
covers.
Mhm. And
Like,
Kingpin is
uh,
taken directly from a Bill
Yeah.
Sienkiewicz.
yeah.
I mean,
God, just this hulking,
yeah.
giant, impossible looking, but just perfect. Oh, so good, so good.
Also, wait, who was the voice of the Kingpin? Because he was very good. Also,
Oh, that was, I could tell you in one
Well,
second if I can find it. Why is it way down in the credits? Leave Schreiber was. Oh my God,
yes,
that's
that's
right.
right.
Yeah,
That's right. Yes, yes, yes.
yeah, it was great.
So yeah.
Kimiko Glenn was Penny Parker, so cute.
Oh,
when
Penny
Chris
Parker.
Robot, yeah, I loved Penny
Yeah.
Parker. I
Ah,
love Kimiko Glenn too. She's great, and of course, you guys probably remember her from Orange Is the New Black, and yeah, she's so great. Zoe Kravitz, Mary Jane Watson, but yeah,
it's
but
just.
Penny, I love little Penny, and when the little robot, oh no,
Uh,
I'm like, oh,
yeah.
little
So
X's.
it's perfect. It's a perfect film.
it
It's
really is.
literally perfect.
I mean, great relation. Like I love the relationship between Miles, learning his new powers, and gets taken under, Peter B's wings. Jake Johnson is great. This sort of almost has been Spider-Man who's been through it all. Let it get a little gut going on.
Oh,
And
the Spider-Man in his sweatpants.
it's
Oh,
so great,
oh,
just perfect. And Jake was fantastic.
ah.
Or
But
the
yeah,
scene in
watching
the diner that's going to get shut down is so funny. I don't know why it got shut down. See you on the way
yeah.
back.
But it is like the dynamic of I really would have liked to be in that meeting of picking, okay, what Spider-Man can we use and women can we use, and how they came up with Noir and Penny and obviously Spider-Gwen and then Spider-Ham, throwing that one in, like that was probably a throwaway joke. Let's put Spider-Ham, like, yeah, you're right. You know what? Let's do it. And like
Progressively became less of a
yeah,
joke.
yeah, like let's do it. And like the ending, like that, it's so good. Like the touching scene where they're all going back to their universes. And Spider-Ham's like, take my mallet or hammer, or whatever. It'll fit in your pocket. I'm like, what a brilliant line. It's so great. And Mulaney's perfect in that. Oh, so good.
It's all
good.
just it, but it also just brings out everything we've talked about for the past month about this character. Everything we love about it. Everything about, and the fact is that it's Miles Morales, but all this other Peter Parkers are in it. But Miles Morales is this, again, modern embodiment of the spirit of this teenager who has with great responsibility, with great power comes great responsibility, and he's learning the original lesson over again. And there's just so many, like even the relationship with the uncle here is a great inversion
God, so
of
great.
the Uncle Ben relationship.
It really is.
And it's brilliant. I mean, it's a perfect recasting of these ideas. Sometimes, I used to work for Disney, and I would work a lot with animation on some of the comics. Like I would do some of the comics adaptation. I was very lucky to be able to meet a bunch of the filmmakers of some of the classic films back in the 90s anyway. And I will say this, like, it takes a long time to make an animated film. And they work at Disney on the story a lot. Like they spend years honing the story and redefining the story. And it's obvious that that was done with the Into the Spider-Verse, that nothing was left to chance, that every single beat, every single moment of this film was polished and worked on in a way to make it be the part of the whole, part of this whole majestic film. And it just really shows. It's just the best of movie making. And it won an Oscar for best animated film. It could have won best picture as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean, it really could have. What was it
What
up
else was
again?
up that year?
What year was it?
Oh yeah, whatever one was, like, The Shape of Water or something.
2018. Okay, yeah. I was like,
yeah, that's a pretty good film, but it's not as good as Spider-Verse.
I mean, Spider-Ham, like
yeah.
live.
Yeah.
God, just so. Oh, what about in the songs at the end? Chris Pine singing the Christmas song. Oh my God. That was so brilliant.
They even redid the end credit scenes, of course, perfectly.
Yeah.
With Spider-Man 2099.
Yes, the Spider-Man 2099.
Yeah.
No, you pointed first.
Yeah,
it's very rude to point first.
Great. But you're pointing already. What do you mean? Oh, God.
And then J. Jonah Jameson cameo there at the end.
Yes.
Like, Spider-Man pointed first.
Yeah.
Like they hit everything. They went through the entire history of Spider-Man, pretty much everything. And I bet you there's things, even though I saw it again, like I said the other day, it's like, I'm sure there's things I still missed that they threw in there. Some quick little thing in the background. If you saw it like 10 times in a row, you'd finally catch everything. Like, oh my God, that's from that. That's from that. Just genius.
Yeah, so they Ramita's ramen.
Oh,
yeah.
It's the perfect. Nice. It's the perfect fusion of comics, animation, and film. It's just.
It really is. Yeah. It's brilliant.
We love it. We love it. We love it forever. So much. They're making a Spider-Verse 2.
They are.
Yeah, of course they are.
I mean, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. I still. Yeah.
How do we feel about that?
I'm always all for let's wait and see what happens, but sometimes it is tough. If you have something kind of perfect, why do you want to do something, that might take away from that perfection? So I don't know. I see here Wikipedia: Spider Women. A spin-off film focusing on 3 generations of female spider-related characters will include Spider-Gwen, and feature
That's
Jessica
a
Drew
live.
Spider-Woman.
That's live action
Oh,
though.
that is it?
Yeah, yeah, that is. Let me see
Oh,
if it says
really?
here.
Is that the one
Pos
with Silk?
I think
Yes,
so.
which
Okay,
I'd be excited about.
so hold on. From via
Huh.
Wikipedia, the untitled in August 2018, the director is still focused, but acknowledged the film would create the potential for many different stories. Sony announced the sequel will be released on April 8th, 2022. We have less than a year to go,
Oh,
but
okay.
the release date was later delayed by 6 months to October 7th. So, okay, Spider spinoff, Spider Woman is film.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, that one. And then there's
It
a
doesn't say live action though.
possible. Yeah, I guess that is animated. And then there's a
Yeah.
possible TV show. That's true. There has been a TV show. So I guess, here's what I think about it. We all loved The Incredibles, right?
Yeah.
And then to be fair, what's his face? The director, Brad Bird, decided not to make a sequel for like 12, 13 years.
Yeah.
And when it did come out, we were like, yeah, why did we need a sequel? The
Yeah,
first
it was
film's
great. It was. I
yeah.
liked the sequel, but yeah, the first one was so
But it
so
was,
great.
yeah, it doesn't like the first film was just perfect as it was, to be honest. It's
Maybe like
another
with Toy Story, like 3 felt like such an ending, especially when you thought you were gonna kill them all at one point. But then 4, like, oh
try
god, that
again,
like
Jimmy.
I was like, are they gonna kill what? But then 4 came out, I was like, it was enjoyable, but maybe didn't necessarily need it, but it was enjoyable. So I'm always for a more story if there you can make it enjoyable and fun. But yeah, it is tough with something so perfect. It's like, do you want to, like I said, like follow it up with something maybe not as good?
Or it could be like The Empire Strikes Back.
There you go. Could
I
Or
mean,
be.
I don't know
Spider-Man
how.
2. I mean,
Yeah, or
Well, there
Spider-Man
is
2.
I think the one that would work though is John Mulaney said in this week visit, he expressed interest in a Spider-Ham spinoff, suggesting it's a the Watergate-like story along the lines of the poster All the President's Men looks in his character's career as a reporter. That I'd
that
be in
sounds
for.
fantastic.
Absolutely.
Sounds incredible.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm
I'd be
in
down
for that
for that.
one. Absolutely.
Yeah, I
That's
mean, I would say it's actually it's pretty hard for this to be Spider-Man 2 or Empire Strikes Back,
Yeah.
but you know what? I'm willing to see.
Same. Yeah, I'm open
The
to.
filmmakers have earned my trust.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
I do want
definitely.
to see Silk too. I really want to see
Oh,
Silk.
I
So
really want to see Silk. I'm enjoying the new series by Maureen Gu, and it's like
it's so good.
Isn't it?
It's so
Yeah.
good. The
Really,
structure is
really good.
incredible. Issue by
Love
issue. I
it.
love the way it fits together.
Yeah, I really do too. I agree. Yeah.
What show is this? Because
No,
guys
no,
know
it's
me.
the comic, the Silk
Oh.
comic. That's the miniseries, 5 issues. Maureen Gu is writing it, and it's fantastic. Yeah.
Oh,
I think it's.
J. Jonah Jameson in there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I should read some of
Cindy
these comics
Moon,
someday.
Silk, yeah, that's great. It's awesome.
So, Jimmy, do you have any casting for us or no?
No, because it's like I would put the same people in that I did for the last one. So I was like,
We've
the ones I picked for the last one. So I was like,
you
yeah.
can't. So we finally found this is only the third time that Jimmy's proven to be unrecastable.
No, because I would just use the ones I used for the original.
Yeah.
show.
I
Same
know,
people.
but I'm just saying it's a technicality, of course. But what was the second? There was another one. I know you couldn't do Garth Marenghi. That was the stumper. But there was another one you couldn't recast.
Oh, I don't know. I can't remember. But yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you already did like Woman Spider or Woman Doc Ock, right?
Yeah.
He already did.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah,
well,
for sure.
you guys, this has been really fantastic.
Yeah, I've had a great time revisiting.
Yeah,
it.
it's been really good to revisit all of this. And Avery, I'm so glad you could join us.
Absolutely.
Because
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, God,
well,
you're
you
great.
really know your Spider-Verse, so
Yeah.
you were the only person who could possibly do this. And it's he's absolutely one of the great. He's the great Marvel character. Whenever you think of Marvel, you probably think of Spider-Man, and he survived in many, many different versions, and we've enjoyed watching some of them.
Yeah.
But the ones that were good made up
For sure.
everything else. So
Yeah, before we go, I think who just joined? I think Alfred Molina just joined our room. So let's bring him in.
Yeah.
Guys, let me tell you.
2:15. You will
I
see
just
me
wanted
for
to
2
say.
seconds. I'll leave, but
just
I'll come
wanted to
back.
say.
Don't worry.
Oh man. Well, I can't wait. Well, you know what? Let's do another episode after No Way Home comes out. We can revisit all of our we'll revisit.
For
so
sure.
well, thank you. So next week.
Next month.
yes, next month we are kicking off an incredible new series, Jimmy.
Yes. Yep. So we're doing so. As many people know, I've fallen down the K-pop well in the past couple of years. We're gonna do K-pop month because we're gonna start off with K-pop 101. So Heidi is certainly familiar with K-pop, but she doesn't really listen to it. I've fallen down the well. Ricky, who also works at the Beat, is a newer fan, and I'm also going to have as a guest Paul Becerra, who is a YouTuber with a channel called The Asian Theory, and they cover a lot of different things, dealing with just different types of, whether he's Filipino like I am, but they cover a lot of K-pop. So he's sort of going to be the expert, the ringer in on this. So we're going to go over the history of it, how it came to be, and to where it started to what it is now. We're gonna do one probably about Blackpink, my favorite group. I'm working on getting some former K-pop idol on. There's a ton of American and Canadians that move to Korea to become idols who speak. And there's a lot over in South Korea that speak English as well. So I'm working on that, trying to get somebody to come join just to talk about their time in the business. So yeah.
Well,
So
if I know Jimmy, he'll succeed.
We'll see. I've reached out to a couple and haven't heard back yet, but we'll see. But
yeah.
I'm gonna have Blackpink join us. They're gonna BTS. They're gonna come on. They're cool. They're just like, yeah, we got time. We hit Dynamite, nice. Very good.
After the McDonald's deal,
look,
it's
the most.
He's familiar.
I got the most basic joke possible, but dude, this is a big learning curve.
They're the biggest band in the world right
now. I know, but I'm just saying to match
course,
Jimmy. I mean, he is like that. I got a lot to do for the next month.
Yeah,
thank God there's no
fun research.
So thank God there's no San Diego Comic-Con this year because
that's right. There'd be no way we'd be able to do it for sure. But all right, look forward to that, guys, next week, and we can't wait. It'll be really fun. And like I said, yeah, maybe you'll learn a little and learn to appreciate a little things out there, guys. So yeah, excellent. Yes, you do. The best one from Chu from Luna does this one where she goes. The vitamin. It's the best.
Guys.
In the finger heart, just learn the finger heart. There you go.
All right, we got to come. Well, for this month,
this one we do this. We whip it.
I'm Heidi McDonald. You can find me at Comics Ace, COMIXACE on all social media.
Yep, and I am Jimmy Aquino with Comic News Insider, comicnewsinsider.com. You can find me at Jimmy Aquino, JIMMYAQUINO.
I'm Avery Kaplan. I'm the features editor at The Beat. You can find me on Twitter at Avery Kaplan6.
Awesome.
That's it. And
thwip it good.
Thwip it. Spider-Man.
That's right.
And does whatever a spider can.
Night Monkey.